Ooh, ooh, ooh. WDBFradio.com. WDBFradio.com.
And you're listening to WDBFradio.com.
I wonder who. Boom.
Who wrote the book of love? Tell me, who wrote the book of love?
Welcome to Bucks on the Bookshelf with your host, Steve the Bookman Eisenstein. Steve the Bookman Eisenstein has been involved in buying, selling, and appraisals of rare books since 1968. This show has been designed with making money for the listeners in mind. More people know the value of coins, stamps, objects of art, and collectibles they do not own than the values of the books in their home library shelves. Now, here's Steve the Bookman Eisenstein.
Who wrote the book of love?
Welcome back, everybody. We are talking with Coker Gbenga from Lagos, Nigeria, Africa, and the subject matter that we're talking about is art and trying to get Coker going in the business of putting on art shows, or just basically, I'm going to be blunt about it, profit. The goal is for you to sell the artist's work so they can continue working. You, as the promoter, can make a living from it. And you're in a tough area. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. The geography for you creates a problem. But problems are made to be solved. That's the way I've always looked at it. You mentioned that there are hotels, a distance away. One of the things that I don't have a clear picture of, and I really need to know, it doesn't have to be an exact number, Coker, but what is the largest hotel? What do they have? 500 rooms, 400 rooms, bigger, smaller? What size are these hotels?
Well, we have 2-star hotels, we have 3-star hotels, we have 4-star, and we have 5-star hotels, intercontinental hotels with 500 rooms. We
Oh,
have them
good.
in the city center, the business hub.
Good. That's what you're looking for, okay? I mean, I always say for me to work in a hotel, there's got to be 400 to 500 rooms minimum, or excuse me, there's not enough people for the program to work. Okay. I think what you did by going in there and asking them to, commission me retail space, and their answer was a very valid business decision as to why they said no. And you will hear that a lot, especially because I'm sure there's competition for that space, whether it be art or clothes or electronics, wherever the hotel can
Yeah,
make a
you're right.
buck, that's what they're going to do. Okay. So you got to approach art from a different angle. And here's another question I have. And the answer to this question is really important because it will tell me, as somebody that knows the hotel business, whether you have a potential market for it. When you are in a hotel working, you're going to look at your guests generally in two ways. They're either business convention guests. They're here on business. Usually you're in a big hotel and the convention's held in the hotel with enough meeting rooms and, all of that. A lot of these conventions, the husbands bring the wives, or the wives bring the husbands. It depends on what the convention is. That's what you're looking for. The other guests are what they call
Yeah.
the social tourist guests. If you do good in what I'm going to suggest, and it works with the convention guests, you will automatically have access to the social guests. And this is what I would do if I were in your shoes at this moment, having an idea with the resources, and I'm going to use the word limited resources, I'm being honest about it, that you have to work with. You're going to have to get in there on two things: the quality of what you show them, and what they call the GOG, buddy, in every language. It's called the gift of gab. your ability to talk, the gift of gab. Okay. And here's what I would be looking at if I were you talking to them. I'd go in and I'd find out. Let's make it up, okay? Because it could fit for anything, but it sounds better when you use an example. Let's say there's a doctor's convention in this hotel. And let's say there's 500 rooms, 400 rooms, and there's 400 doctors and their wives or mistresses, okay? We try and be funny. Um, those are the people that you want because while the doctors are at the convention, the meetings, what are the wives going to do? So maybe at 2 o'clock in the lobby for 2 to 6 o'clock, they're not going to give you all day, all night, but these women are ready to spend, or whoever's out there, they're looking for stuff to buy as souvenirs, as toys, tourists things, artwork, whatever it might be. If there's a way that you can talk to the people in the sales department, okay, that's where
Yeah.
you would want to start. Hey, do you have conventions coming in where you want to give the people that aren't attending the convention that come with them something to do in the hotel that could be fun for them and possibly profit generating for you and the hotel? What I would say is you're going to put on a display of various types of African tribal, African modern art. If you could actually get some antique tribal art in there, that would do you a world of wonders. And,
Yeah.
in this setup, they would give you room to display it. You would talk about it, introduce them to it, things like that. When I was at the Sonesta Beach, and the Sonesta Beach is a very upscale chain, they had a lady there that was the bead lady. I mean, when you use the word beads, almost automatically the prefix African beads comes right into mind. I know you have access to beads, beaters, and all that. If these hotels have kids that are coming there, the same time you're doing this art show, they could be doing a bead camp that they have to pay for, because of the cost of materials. And if the hotel wants a kickback, they shouldn't. I would never take a kickback. Okay, I never booked somebody and wanted a commission for booking them. I never wanted a fee from an artist. All of that. I'm not saying everybody in the hotel world is going to be like me with that. You can offer it if you think it's needed, but what you're really giving them is an activity for their hotel guests that costs them nothing but some space. And, I don't know if they play bingo over there, but you're definitely more interesting than a bingo game, and they still have to set it up. The hotels work that way. I don't think it's any different on the continent in Africa or whatever. When people go to a hotel for a convention, they're there, their wives are there, and they need something to do. So, have you got what it takes? You and I talk and type. I have no problem communicating with you. You understand everything I'm saying. You should be able to go into one of those hotels, learn from the mistakes of the first one if they don't take you right away, and maybe get picked up by a second or third. And I'll tell you something else. If one picks you up, inevitably the other ones are going to hear about you. You know, what do you
Yeah.
think of that? I mean, have you tried? I know you tried it from your angle. Have you tried it from what I suggested?
Yeah. I have tried quite a number of hotels in the city center, like I said earlier, but it's a different ball game here in Nigeria. In most cases, they'll ask you to make some payment for the space. That's just it.
I get that.
They'll
I
ask you. I've done quite a number of fantastic presentations. I went with some of my art pieces. They saw it, they loved it, and then they knew it was gonna be a, a big deal for them because it's gonna enhance. their business. Definitely buyers would love to buy, and then it's gonna beautify the environment and all of that. But they are bent on payments. They keep telling me I will have to pay for the space, and that's just it. But it's a very viable market in the city center. It's a very viable market. That's where the elites are. That's where the collectors are. That's where the buyers are.
Has anybody done okay, I understand everything you said. I'm also a believer in sometimes you get lucky. I know everybody's got their hand out, okay? But what
Yeah.
I'm asking you is this. Have you ever tried to present it as a recreational activity for the guests, not a straight sales situation?
Yes, I have in the times past.
And the
I did
same
like
thing.
one or two.
Yeah.
I did like one or two, but it wasn't in the city center, not too far away from my neighborhood. The turnout was impressive. They just came, they saw it, as they commented, "Oh, fine pieces, beautiful, lovely," and then they all went back. They didn't buy.
Yeah. Yeah, but believe me, I understand that. We sometimes do a show. It costs us $2,500 to $3,000. It's no different anywhere else, Coca. I've done shows that cost me almost 3 grand, and I wind up losing, six, 800 sometimes. On the other end of it, when they're good, they're great, but you can't, not every show is a guarantee. You've got it hard there, my friend. I really am sensing about in Spanish, they call it bajo de mesa, the under the table payola, and
Yeah,
I can sense there anybody that's got some kind of position is trying to make side money just like everybody else. But,
yeah,
if you don't try, you don't know. The other thing is, art fairs. I am sure that you have art fairs all over the place. Is that wrong? Art fairs where in town different artists have different fairs going on. No?
yeah, yeah. We have art fairs, yeah, but it's usually in the city center, and then it's usually for the very big artists, no names. They can afford to
Yeah.
pay 1,000, 2,000, $3,000 for the logistics of the show. So that's just it. Occasionally we have art fairs, but the spaces are usually bought up by the big artists, the known names, the big names in the art circle.
You're in a very competitive market. I see that. I see what's going
Yeah.
on there in that sense. Let me ask you a silly question, okay? Books. Is there people like is there a bookstore near you that sells like within a radius, well, let's say within the city center, this area that you're talking about, is there anybody that sells like what we have, rare books?
Yeah, yeah. There is a
There
huge market.
is.
Yeah, there is. But some of the books come from Europe and America. We have a few of our writers here too. Some of their rare books are always on display, but most of the books are usually from European writers, American writers,
Yeah.
and just
Yeah, and
like
I
that, just like that.
I got a suggestion for you. I mean, it's out in left field, but then again, I always think out in left field and out of the box. I always tell people here in country, I don't care if you live in the most major metropolitan region or you're out in the middle of nowhere. Somewhere within 100-mile radius of you is sitting a book collection waiting for you or someone else to find it. I saw you were doing some traveling on river waters the other day. Okay.
Yeah,
When you go into those villages, are there any books on the shelves in any of the homes, huts, whatever? Let me
Yeah.
tell you. Let me get to the punchline. Let me get to the punchline on this. I would be willing to make a bet that if you looked for books and knew what you were looking at in your area where there's no competition, and how you are describing books from Europe and other things that I'm presuming is a lifetime view of books that you've seen, because, that's where you've been. I got a
Yeah.
feeling that you could get really lucky, Coker. Here's a suggestion, okay? We chat all the time. Um, if you ever go out somewhere, you're in a friend's home, a cousin's home, or after you do it a few times, people start inviting you to their homes, okay? Take pictures of some of the books. What I would need from a picture of a book would be a picture of the spine, the covers, whether they're plain, fancy, or whatever, and
Yeah.
what they call a picture of the title page. If you do that for a while, we'll be back after.
Now, here's Steve the Bookman Eisenstein.
Welcome back, book lovers. We are talking to Coker Gbenga, who is in Nigeria, Laos, Nigeria, Africa. He is trying to get going art grants, reaching out for help. We hope maybe somebody in our overseas or local audiences might be able to reach out and give him some advice, maybe a grant, something like that for what he's doing. Um, but before we went to break, I was telling you something that's just on a personal note. Coker, I always tell people books show up in the weirdest places. There's not a
You're right.
mountain in Florida. Yeah, there's not a mountain in Florida. I found mountain climbing books in Florida. You could say things about Colorado, or other things. I really believe that as you're describing the art market, and there's like one bookstore in town. I don't see a lot of let's just put it this way. The online dealers that we see from Nigeria, we're not buying from, okay? But you've got a case of credibility here. If you send me images, I want to see what you find. If you find things that are images, I want the picture. I want to see the book on the shelf in the house, and I want to see the book, as I described it, the front, the rear, the spine, and most importantly, the title page. Um, I have a feeling you might turn up with something that we might just figure out how it could be turned into money. Um, you and I joke a lot about the lottery. I want to tell you, if you actually do this when you're out in remote places, you'll never know where it's gonna, where it will or won't happen. But your chances of finding a book in the next 3 or 4 months, if you actively look for it, it could be worth anywhere from the hundreds to a few $1,000s. And I think if you found something, especially in those areas, it could be exceptionally rare. I'm not telling you to go chase a carrot or anything, but you're in what I think is kind of virgin book hunting territory. And who knows? I mean, just keep that in the back of your mind. Short of you getting very lucky from somebody listening to the show right now, you got a tough road with this art market. I'm not out of I'm never out of ideas, but I don't know enough about your area other than the areas that I would think would kind of fit in, like the hotel world. Hotels are worlds unto themselves usually. Um, we used to have a hotel here that said you never have to leave the hotel. They had everything you wanted on it. Before we talk about your post, we're gonna wrap it up at the end of this segment. But before we talk about your post, what have you been able to do? Have you been able to pull off an art fair? Have you gotten some people together? Whether you made sales or not, that's not your problem. As a promoter, you want to do everything you can to make sure your exhibitors are safe, sound, and that you've gotten the message out that this is where everybody should come. And if you get everybody there and nobody buys, there's nothing you can do about that. But what have you done that at least, to date, have you put shows together to date?
Yeah, I've had like 5 shows before the COVID-19 pandemic, and I made a few sales, I made a few connections, I got a few commendations too. But after the COVID, it's been really tough, it's been really hard. The economy is just getting back and all of that. So it's not been easy here, putting up an exhibition. That has just been hit. But before the pandemic, I had a few exhibitions, I had a few outings, like one or two were successful. I had a few buyers. I was happy. I made a few connections. But ever since, I've not been able to do any. And that has
COVID
been like
killed,
4 years now.
COVID destroyed a lot of things. Let me throw one more thing out at you. The books are a possibility, but, my mind is always on overdrive. One of the other things, and this is a guarantee, it's got to be there. You have to have the knowledge in the eye to recognize it. But what I'm talking about is I don't know how remote. When I saw you with images on the river, I don't know what river, whether it was, whether it takes you out into the middle of nowhere, and there's tribal people that live along the river, but you could probably, if they're not, if you stop in and talk to these people, African artifacts. There's gotta be tribal art. I'll send you some pictures. I don't know what your knowledge is, but if you can bone up on that online, you should be able to go to Sotheby's or Christie's and look up auctions of African tribal art. If you haven't done that, you're going to be shocked. Are you aware of the antique market of tribal art?
Yes, yes, I am. I belong to a few, just like Club 30 International. I'm a member of a few art communities, art groups online. I always try my best to put up my stuffs, and then, but the competition has always been very stiff. They are big time dealers, they are big time art collectors, and you know, artifacts and art dealers who are very big in the trade. And like you said, I'm going to try to explore the book market. I think it's very viable. We have a whole lot of treasures in the countryside, like you said. So I'll start looking out for very rare books. I know I can get some very rare books in a couple of weeks or
Well,
months.
I don't know what you know about books, but I'm willing to teach you. I'm willing to help you, guide you through it. One of the things that, that's your advantage right now, like with the tribal art or books, well, you don't know what kind of books you're going to find, but start reading, look at online auction catalogs, from A to Z, subject matter, authors, things like that. Um, and you can even, I'm going to give you a site. When we talk off air next time, in the next couple of days or something, I want you to tell me if you were able to access this site. It's called addall.com. ADDALL dot com. If you can get addall.com, you will be able to at least get an idea of whether the books are valuable or not. Um, it's a site that we go to look up the values, comparison values of books. What you would do when you get there is you would click on the little blue spot that says use books. Then you'd have the menu, the drop down menus to play with. Keep it simple in the beginning. Just put in the author, the title, maybe the publisher's name, and see what happens. But, when you do that, you'll get anywhere from sorry we can't find this book to we found 5 copies, we found 35 copies, we found 300 copies, and they'll describe all the copies that they found. So that can help you. Well, I'm looking
Okay.
at the clock. I want to wrap us up in this segment. This has been, I hope the audience has enjoyed this. I hope more so than the audience enjoying it is somehow you get some benefit out of this. We can lead everybody to water, but you can't make them drink. Um, when you put up, like, okay, I'm presuming there's people that are listening that have seen some of your posts, but, um, how can I say it? You got a very different attitude towards women there than we do. Is that, are you goofing when you do that? Or, you put out some of these questions. Um, if you won $60 million and a friend needed 59 million for an eye operation, what would you do? We call that clickbait. Why do you do it?
Well, some of my posts on my page are part of the realities of the social, political, and economic realities here. Sometimes you look at what happens in life. It's just an assumption. It's just a question, you know, and that could happen to anybody. Imagine having like a 1 million naira, or let me say $1 million, and then a friend or a brother or a relative needs some kind of help. Is it possible? How many people can really spare that? How many people can really help out? It's a
Yeah,
it's a
yeah.
clickbait really. That gets well with that you should be able to know the kind of friends you have. You need to know the kind of mindset they have. You need to know the kind of emotional or psychological makeup they are made of, and how well they can help you or assist you or stand by you. So sometimes it's part of the realities of life to know people's mind towards you.
That's a very okay. I like it's not it's good clickbait. Okay. I mean, if you if you would if I would post things like this here, the social economics and all the other things along those lines, they'd call me a male chauvinist pig and tell me to go fuck myself, you know? Yeah, I mean, but I don't, it's different. I had a feeling that was the answer, that it was, you have to understand, not understand. I understand different cultures. There's a difference between understanding and living.
Yeah,
And,
that's right.
yeah, and that's the fine tuning that makes me think, well, I know there's more to this than that, but what is it? Well, it would take 14 years for us to explain all that, but we don't have that time. Coco, we got about a minute and a half left in this segment, and I just want to say thank you for being on. A pleasure to
Thank
meet
you
you
for having
face
me.
to face. And I hope one day I can keep my promise to you. If we win $140 million in the lottery, we'll make you a
Yeah,
millionaire, okay?
yeah.
How the hell
Thank,
we're going to get the money over there, I don't know, but we'll figure it out. My phone
yeah.
just told. I know my phone just said something. Oh, I see what happened. Somehow I guess the cat stepped on the phone and
Okay.
it made Siri tell me she doesn't understand the question. I never used it before. Anyway, Coker, good luck. If we can help you with anything, we'll try. If any contacts come to you, I want to know about it. I just want to know that, maybe somehow we helped you with this.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'll be looking forward to some kind of help or assistance that anybody can render. It has always been my dream to hold an exhibition, sell my stuff. Like I have a lot of stuff right here. I have fabrics, I have tribal hats, I have.
Steve, how can people get in touch with Coco?
Well, yeah, I mean, you've got to go to Facebook. Yeah, okay, very good, Steve. I guess I didn't. You go to Facebook, and it's Coker, Coker, last name Gbenga, Coker, Gbenga. And you can see him on Facebook. And if you are with a group, help him out. I don't say that for people often. Not in a situation myself, but if we were, I will keep my word. The day we cash that lottery ticket, you'll be the fourth to know. Okay. Take care. We'll be back after these commercial words.
The Bookman Eisenstein.
Welcome. Oh, Coker, you're still there. I thought you were clicking off. Okay.
No, I'm still right here.
Oh, okay. No, I thought you were. I was going to do a monologue for the rest of the show, but that's okay. When you've gone into these places, again, the thing, I'm not talking about city life now. Where I was talking about this,
The villages,
the
the
river,
countryside.
where you were on what looked like a dugout with a long boat with a motor that was ideal for river travel. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you were on that boat, when you first got on that river, how far are you from where you actually live?
Well, it's about 15 miles from where I am. I was moving from Lagos, where I am, to the neighboring state, just like moving from New York to the neighboring states. I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
No, I do.
So,
Oh, no, I follow you.
yeah.
How long is that river?
Well, it's not. It's like a kilometer. I don't know
Oh,
if you get it. Like a kilometer, just like a mile, just 1 mile. Actually, I was meant to go on the road, but the road was going to take much longer. It's going to take like an hour. But then I choose to go through the boats. It's shorter, and in less than 10 minutes or 15 minutes, I was in the other states. I got there much quicker. There was
I
no
follow
bridge on
you.
the river, so most of the villagers they choose to come to the city center through with the boat. If I had
Well,
wanted to go by road, by vehicle, or by public transport, it would have been like an hour or more. But then I was in the
no,
other states. It's just like the back street. It's like the riverside is like a back street. It's like a shortcut. So in less than 15 minutes, I was in the other state. And in the rural areas, there are no infrastructures, no roads, no lights, no hospitals. They have just one school. And I just choose to go to the other state. I was visiting some relatives, so I choose to go through the river Rhine area.
no, I'm sorry. My wife just got up and almost fell. I'm sorry. Hold
Hey,
on. Hey, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Edie, say hello.
hi,
Oh,
Eddie.
okay. Ben, you can't get on. Here, go ahead. Is that what you're trying to do? Wait, this is danger.
Hi, Eddie.
Wait, I'm trying to get the camera to her, but I,
I can see Eddie.
you
Hello,
can.
Eddie.
Okay. All right.
Hi,
All right.
Eddie.
All right. This is
It's
gonna.
a pleasure. It's a pleasure. I've always wanted to see you. It's a pleasure. It feels good to see you.
Thank you. Thank you. Let
I'm
me
so
let me
happy
put
to
this
see
back.
Eddie.
Yeah, this is a precarious situation. My desk is over here. but the laptop
Okay.
is on a piano bench over here. So I had to
Okay.
be
Okay.
careful. No, the reason I was
Okay.
asking about that river, and I understand that the transportation of it very well. When I lived in Venezuela, we had a choice. You can go across a quarter mile, half a mile canal with a little taxi ferry, or you could
Yeah.
drive about 20 miles that way, 5 miles that way, and 20 miles back to get to the other
Yeah.
side of the river. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. That was what I did. That was what I did.
Well, do you ever? Okay, so now I understand the usage of that. You were on basically a water taxi.
Yeah. What
Are
taxi? The
there
local.
other bodies of water like that that are more um native commercial, or are you like I'm picturing, like, I know Lagos, and I've seen the interior city shots. I know what's there from what you've shown me. But what I'm trying to figure out is, are you in any is the wilderness? Now, I'm not using the word jungle, but is the wilderness far from you?
Well, I'm on the outskirts, and the wilderness is not too far from where I am. I'm on the outskirts, not in the city center. So if I want to go to the city center every day, it has to be like 2 hours drive to the city center. I'm on the outskirts, and here the rent is cheaper. Here you have low income people. Rent is cheaper. Life is easier here. In the city center, things are more expensive. That's where you have the rich, the elites. The prices of accommodation is much higher. The prices of healthcare is higher. Prices of education is higher. Price of food is higher.
Uh-huh.
So I'm far away from the city center.
What if you know, what, out of curiosity, what is the price of a hotel room in one of those hotels per night?
You mean in the city center or in the outskirts where I am?
Yeah, like one of those Hilton hotels or something like that. What do they
Uh,
charge per night? Hundreds of dollars?
yeah, yeah. Well, they range from 200, 500, and as high as 1,000. I'm telling you, as high as 1,000.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
where you see the big politicians, the big business owners, entrepreneurs, the very rich people in Nigeria. And let me say, maybe corrupt politicians. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I used to think Miami Beach was the most graft-ridden city in the world when I lived here in my earlier years. Then I moved to Puerto La Cruz, Venezuela, and I think they still have the cake on that one. Corruption, unfortunately, makes the world go round. Sometimes it makes it go
Yeah,
flat and sink.
but
But anyway, go ahead.
it's really worse here in Africa. You know that it's worse here in Nigeria.
Yeah, I would imagine, especially, I mean, the news that is being made. We don't do politics, we don't do, that stuff on this show, but you can't avoid what's going on there these days. It's unfortunate, but it's unfortunate all over the world that people are stupid. I mean, individually smart people become collective idiots, and then they form a political group. What can I tell you?
Yeah.
All right. And on this note, it's 11:53. We got 5 more minutes. I need to kind of close up the show. So, Coker, if you want to reach Coker off air, you can go to Facebook. Look up his name, Coker, last name Gbenga. Coker Gbenga, the G is silent. Thank you for teaching me that. I'm going to ask you to teach me one more thing. Besides English, what do you speak any other languages?
Well, I speak a few local languages here. I speak English and then my native Yoruba. I'm from the Yoruba tribe. And then I speak a third one, which is some kind of broken English. It is easier to communicate with virtually everybody with broken English.
Uh,
It's a, co-
sp-
yeah.
One of my projects, learning Swahili.
Okay, that's
But
interesting.
on the other hand, I asked you that for another reason. In whatever the language, tell me the name of the language that you're going to tell me the word book. I want to learn how to say the word book in one of your languages.
Here in Yoruba, we call it Iwe, Iwe, Iwe.
Iwea, Iwe.
Iwe, yeah, Iwe.
And
You
that's
got it
book
right. Yeah,
and
you
what
got it right.
language?
Yoruba language, Iwe.
You're Iwe and okay. Thank
Yeah,
you. And
you're
on that
welcome.
note, we got about 3 minutes left. Click off, sign off. We will talk again. I'm about to wrap the program up.
Okay, okay.
So I want to say thank you again for being with us today, Coker. I really hope something
Thank you
comes
so
your
much
way
for
out
having.
of this. My
Thank you.
absolute pleasure. Final words? We lost your audio. Not hearing you.
Steve, we signed him off. It's wrap it up.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank everybody for being with us. I got 56 right now, right? We're on the same page. 56, 58.
Yeah, 56.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, 01. Okay. 215. Okay. Just a reminder, the first week in March, we will be at the Florida Antiquarian Book Fair. I hope to see a lot of you out there. It's a Saturday and Sunday this year. We are really looking forward to it. I'm saying this out loud. This just might be my final book fair. I think I'm getting tired of it. I'm doing work to set up for it now, and it's in March. I guess I'm doing that so I don't wait to the last minute and then it really becomes a problem. What can I say? You all have done book fairs out there. You know what I'm talking about. It's a wonderful business, but it might be time to slow down a little bit. Never give up the show, never give up the business, but I don't know. Anyway, I'm kind of rambling. So, hopefully we'll see you guys at the book fair. And if you can't go to the Florida book fair, I've always said this, I always will. The best place that you can go for any 1 day event is to an antiquarian book fair as far as learning goes. More importantly than learning, you will add names to your client list, even if it's 100 dealers and a couple of patrons. That's more than you walked in with. And I'll tell you something else. If you know how to do it and you don't fall in love with your merchandise, it's really easy to be a dealer's dealer. I've done it all my life and enjoyed it. So, it works. You don't have to do it, but it works. And on that note, we're going to the warehouse tomorrow and Monday. So when Max comes out on Tuesday, or when Bryce comes out on Tuesday, we're going to send another load to Max for auctioning. Max, see you next week or the week after, second Saturday. Happy book sales and buys to all. You all, ciao for now. Thanks, Captain Hook.